Good evening. Welcome to Carnegie Town Hall. I'd like to call this meeting to order. I'd like to emphasize a couple of items. First, please silence all your cell phones. And in an effort to have sufficient time to hear from all audience members, we ask that when you come to the podium, identify yourself and state your address for the records. Limit your comments to 5 minutes, and please ensure you are delivering new testimony to the commissioners. At this time, we will approve the consent agenda.
Item 1 is approval of October 5th, 2016 minutes of the regular meeting. Item 2 is October plats. Item 3 is 5765 2016 rezone from AG Agricultural District to the I-2 Heavy Industrial District for allowed forms located at 1900 South Bonson Avenue. Item 4 is 5807 2016 rezone from RS Single Family Residential Suburban District to the RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential Suburban District for allowed forms located at 3009 South Marion Road. Item 5 is 5818 2015 rezone from RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential Suburban District to O Office District for allowed forms located at 909 North Kiwanis Avenue.
Thank you. Are there any objections from the audience on items 1 through 5? Are there any objections from the commissioners? Staff?
Planning staff is requesting to move items 3 and 4 from the consent agenda to regular agenda, please.
Thank you. With that, I need a motion and a second.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda with the moving of items 3 and 4 to the regular agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All opposed, same sign. Consent agenda is approved. Moving items 3 and 4 to the regular agenda. I need a motion to approve the regular agenda, please.
Motion to approve the regular agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the regular agenda. Is that adding items 3 and 5 to it?
Yes.
Okay. With items 3 and 5 or 3 and 4 to it. Okay. I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying yes.
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 All opposed, same sign. Regular agenda is approved. Forgot to mention this. If you're here for items 2 and 5, or 1 through 5, 2 and 5, you're free to go.
For the regular agenda, the first item is item 3, 5765 2016 rezone from the AG Agricultural District to the I-2 Heavy Industrial District for allowed forms located at 1900 South Bonson Avenue.
The petitioner and staff are requesting that this item be deferred to the December 7th Planning Commission meeting.
Thank you. I have a request for deferral.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to defer item 3 to the next regular Planning Commission meeting.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying yes.
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 All opposed, same sign. Item number 3 has been deferred.
Next item is item 4, 5807 2016 rezone from RS Single Family Residential Suburban District to the RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential Suburban District for allowed forms located at 3009 South Marion Road.
Jason Bieber representing Planning and Building Services. The applicant here is proposing to rezone roughly 1.8 acres to the RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential District and combine that with the existing 2.96 acres to the west of this parcel. His plan is then to remove these 2 existing single-family houses, as you can see on the aerial here, and construct a twin home development with roughly 17 lots. The proposed zoning meets the Sioux Falls Comprehensive Plan. The proposed 1.8 acres of RD1, once combined with the existing 2.96 acres of RD1, will provide a twin home development. This development should provide the necessary transition from South Marion Road, which is an arterial street, to the existing multifamily uses located to the west of the site and to the single-family uses to the north and to the east. If the rezoning of this property is approved and a preliminary subdivision plan is approved, the 4.76 acres can be developed for twin homes as indicated in this site plan, proposed concept plan. If the rezoning is denied, the west 2.96 acres can be constructed for twin homes, but the east 1.8 acres would then have to be single-family uses. Because the subject application is consistent with the Shape Sioux Falls Comprehensive Plan, staff does recommend approval of this rezoning, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Commissioners, any questions of staff on this item?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Jason, just so I'm clear, the western part is already zoned for duplex, right?
Yep, the west, over west, probably about 2/3 of it already zoned for duplex, owned by the same owner, so.
So he's taken the single family that are on Marion, getting rid of single family on Marion and going to the twin homes that are
Yep,
duplex.
and then he's
over there.
proposing to construct, as you can see, the street will then line up with West 39th Street on the east side there to kind of make it flow a little better, so.
Right, thanks.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chair, I have a question. How else would the property be developable with regards to access to the western portion if they don't do a plan like this?
I would say this is probably the only way that he could do it. However, if you look at the plan that's up on the screen here, essentially the east 4 lots on the north and the south would have to be single-family houses instead of twin homes if this rezoning was denied. They could still do the same development, but he'd lose roughly 8 or 9 units in there, so.
Any more questions? Thank you, Jason. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to speak on this? No, first I need the petitioner to come up.
Hello, everyone. Cynthia Monin, 3009 South Marion Road. So I have to move before any of this can happen. So I'm here standing in for my husband. So this is property that actually has been in my family since the 1950s, when my parents and my grandparents bought acreages. That's why they're so deep. And they set their houses quite far back off of Marion Road. Obviously, lots changed since then. Marion Road's become, a fairly busy road. And the houses are dated and have lived their life, so to speak. So this is an infill redevelopment project that we're proposing. The positive things are we're constructing the private drive to line up with West 38th, which gets rid of 2 driveways, and I know city traffic likes that aspect of it. The orientation of the twin homes, obviously, backyards to backyards for once we get back a ways. The reason the property in the back, I believe, was zoned that way, I'm not sure that it was any initiative by any of the property owners at the time. I think that when we were annexed into the city and the fact that there were already apartment complexes to the very west, they just chose an adjacent zoning. And then, of course, there were 2 single-family homes set back quite a ways, and so that's why the single-family zoning went back that far. So I'll answer any other questions you might have.
Commissioners, any questions for Cynthia?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to speak on this item? Seeing none, Commissioners, I need a motion on this item.
Motion for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Discussion?
I think it makes perfect sense. The property to the west is already zoned that way, and that's about the only thing that can be built there, and it's a great transition from Marion Road to the west, so.
Mr. Chair, I also noticed that there's already RD1 to the east across the other way from Marion, and so, yeah, I agree with Larry that that makes a lot of sense to me, too.
Okay. Any more discussion? With that, I have a motion and a second for approval. All in favor signify by saying yes.
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 All opposed, same sign. Item number 4 passes.
Item 6 is 5662, 2016, conditional use permit for an electronic message center sign in a residential zoning district located at 1800 South Valley View Road.
The applicant is proposing to place a back-to-back 2.6-foot by 8-foot electronic message center sign in the northwest corner of the existing church, Good News Church property. One message sign will be facing east on West 26th Street, and the other sign will be facing west on West 26th Street. The overall sign height where the message board will be placed will be 8 feet wide by 6 feet tall for a total of 48 square feet. Numerous churches within the Sioux Falls have installed electronic message centers that are situated along arterial streets and oriented away from residential uses. The proposed freestanding sign will be located adjacent to 26th Street, which is a very busy arterial street, and roughly 150 feet from the nearest single-family residential house, which is north across 26th Street, and it is the backyards of those houses. The sign will be situated on the busy arterial and should have little impact on any existing residential houses. Because the application has provided clarity to indicate the nature and location and extent of the work proposed, staff does recommend approval of this conditional use permit.
Commissioners, any questions of staff on this item? Thank you, Jason. Is the petitioner here? Please come forward and state your name and address, please.
Matt Mulder, 1800, let's see, where are we? 1800 South Valley View Road. I'm a deacon at Good News Church.
Okay.
Any questions?
Commissioners, any questions of him? Matt?
All right, thanks.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this item? Seeing none, I need a motion on item number 6.
Mr. Chair, motion to approve item number 6.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair? With the church being on a major arterial road and being quite a ways away from single family, I think that's where it makes sense to put these sorts of signs. Probably one of the only places it makes sense for these sorts of signs, but I would I'm supportive of this one.
Thank you.
I would echo that also.
All right.
Mr. Chair, ditto.
Thank you. All right. With that, all in favor of, I have a motion and a second. All in favor of item number 6, signify by saying yes.
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 All opposed, same sign. Item number 6 passes.
Item 7 is 5786, 2016, conditional use permit to allow residential on the first floor located at the northwest corner of South 2nd Avenue and East 14th Street.
Good evening, Diane DeCoyer with Planning. The applicant for this is Clint Ackerman with Signature Homes requesting a conditional use permit for dwelling on the first floor of the residential building within the downtown PUD in the RE6 form. The residence townhome exists to the north of the proposed area and were constructed and approved by a CUP in 2014, which was prior to the downtown planned unit development, initial development plan being approved. Therefore, he has to come back for an update. It's been more than a year since that conditional use, which has now expired. Let's see. Townhomes that exist to the north, there's commercial to the east and west that is also part of the downtown PUD, and then across 14th Street are also townhomes that are existing, so the transitions are all compatible to adjacent properties. Because the application has provided clarity to indicate the location, nature, and extent of the work proposed, staff does recommend approval for this conditional use, and I can answer any questions you have.
Commissioners, any questions of staff on item number 7?
Again, Diane, this is just a renewal of the prior conditioning.
No, they had a conditional use for the homes that are up, or the townhomes that are up against 13th Street. This is the remainder of the development, still the residents, they are townhomes. This is a requirement of the downtown PUD that did not exist in 2014. It was prior to Shape Places taking effect, so.
Okay.
And the initial development plan hadn't been approved for downtown at that time.
Very good. So it is a new request.
It is new, yeah.
All right. Thank you, Diane. Is the petitioner here?
Good evening. Clint Ackerman, Signature Companies, here to answer any questions. Harrisburg, South Dakota.
Any questions from commissioners? Clint? Thank you, Clint. I need a motion and a second. Oops. Is there anyone from the audience, excuse me, that would like to address this item?
Motion for approval?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Seeing none?
Consistent with the
Oh.
one that's already in place and makes sense for that reason.
Okay.
Agree with that.
Mr. Chair, it's great to see this kind of development downtown's modern or revitalizing. It's great to see.
All right. Thank you. I have a motion and a second on item number 7. All in favor signify by saying yes.
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 All opposed, same sign. Item number 7 passes.
Number 8 is 5817, 2016, conditional use permit to allow residential on the first floor located at 901 South Main Avenue.
I'd say this is a ditto from the previous one, but I was told by our attorney we're not allowed to use that term. So. Anyways.
Staff can't use that.
Okay, strike the comment.
So the applicant for this petition is Allison Dvorak with Cook Hazard Architects, and they're requesting the same conditional use permit for a dwelling on the first floor. This development is at 901 North Main Avenue. It is part of the downtown PUD, and what they're proposing are townhomes for it. What is adjacent to the proposed townhome, is C2. They're non-conforming to the north and to the south with single-family homes. To the east is some downtown PUD where the bakery is located, and then some other C2 commercial properties. To the west of it are existing single-family and townhome residential, making the land use transitions around the site compatible and to not detract from the mixed-use character of the area, because the application has provided the clarity to indicate the location, nature, and extent of the work proposed. Staff does recommend approval for the CUP. I can answer any questions you have.
Commissioners, any questions of staff on this item? Thank you, Diane. Is the petitioner here?
Allison Dvorak, Cook Hazard Architects, 431 North Phillips Avenue. This project, we came here last month, but this month we're kind of talking about the first floor residential use. The first floor of this building will actually be a garage and more of a workshop rather than a living space. The living space will be up on second floor. So that's kind of the way we're thinking about this building is work and then live above.
All right. Commissioners, any questions for Allison?
Mr. Chair, the ones that are on the west, Allison, are those 3-story from your elevation view, or are they the same two?
Two and a loft. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So it is actually 4 total with the garage and everything?
Well, the garage and the workshop would be on that first level, and then the second would be living, and then a loft above that. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to address this item?
I'd like to make a motion to approve for discussion.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Someone here? Okay. Oh, we're good.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
No, I think, again, great redevelopment project for downtown, and I think it looks like a great project, so I'm in support of it.
And it seems like a pretty efficient use of a fairly challenging site for this particular location. I can't imagine what else would work there very well or near as well as this does, so I'm in support of it as well.
And I haven't shown this picture to my wife because she wants to move downtown.
There you go.
Can we still say ditto?
That's commissioner privilege.
All right, any other discussion? Thank you. I have a motion and a second on item number 8. All in favor signify by saying yes.
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 All opposed, same sign. Item 8 passes.
Item 9 is 5758, 2016, alternative site plan for an alternative landscape buffer yard located at the southeast corner of South Grange Avenue and West 11th Street.
The applicant here is Come and Go. They are proposing to provide the required front yard trees and buffer yard requirements in an alternative way. As you can see from the aerial, the site has front yards on all 4 sides, so it's a little difficult to develop with our required landscaping standards. A level C buffer yard is required along the south, along West 12th Street, and approximately about 100 feet along South Menlo Avenue. This buffer yard requires a 15-foot setback, 4-foot berm, or 6-foot fence, and 40 units of landscaping per 100 lineal feet. The street tree requirements, which they are also asking for an alternative for those, they're required at 1 for every 50 feet for a total of 21 trees on the existing site, and only 20% of these trees can be located in the right-of-way. Their alternative plan indicates the required buffer yard setback along South Menlo Avenue, as well as the 5-foot buffer yard along West 12th Street. They were approved for a variance by the Board of Adjustment to go down to that 5-foot. Further, the applicant is indicating the required number of landscape units, as well as significant retaining wall along West 12th Street. This is an example of what that retaining wall will look like as you're walking along West 12th Street. Finally, the applicant is proposing 23 trees, 17 new. They're also utilizing the existing 3 existing trees, which you can count for 2 each, so that's 6. Those existing mature trees are already located in the right-of-way. And then 11 out of the required 23 trees will be located in that right-of-way, which is roughly 52%, which is 32% more than the requirement of 20. So the applicant plans to meet the required buffer yard setback as well as construct a significant retaining wall on West 12th Street. Finally, the number of required landscape units will be placed, and then the applicant is indicating that they are placing the required number of front yard trees, just with more than the allowed amount in the right-of-way. The proposed buffer yard and street trees within the right-of-way should meet that intent of the level C buffer yard requirements and the required street trees as indicated in the zoning ordinance. If the applicant is approved, the applicant can construct the landscaping as indicated on this landscape plan that's up on the screen right now. If this application is denied, the applicant would probably have to try and cluster some trees along Grange Avenue, throw them all in one little section. Because the subject application should meet the intent of the buffer yard requirements and the landscaping requirements within the shape places zoning ordinance, staff does recommend approval of this alternative landscape plan. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Commissioners, any questions of staff on this item? Thank you, Jason. Is the petitioner here?
Good evening, Jeremy Shepard, Olson Associates, 7157 Vista Drive in West Des Moines. Dan couldn't be here tonight, so on behalf of Come and Go, we appreciate Commission's consideration tonight of this application. Jason's presentation was well put together, summed up everything nicely, and I really don't have anything else to add, but I'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
Commissioners, any questions of the petitioner?
Mr. Chair. I know the plan here is we're talking about alternative landscaping and such, but with that size of a retaining wall, am I understanding this rendering correctly that it looks like the fuel tanks? Oh, go back to the other one, Jason. There you go. This is going to be like is it 6 pumps there? 6 gas pump station?
That is correct. Yep, six dispensers
so
under
the underground
canopy.
fuel tanks must be kind of up front towards 11th Street?
That is correct. If you look north of the canopy, you can kind of see the underground tanks under the pavement.
Yeah. So that won't be anywhere close to any of this heavy upgrade of the retaining walls and such.
No, the retaining wall's on the very south side of the site. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? Thank you, Jeremy.
All right, thank you.
Need a motion and is there anyone from the audience that would like to speak on this item?
David Heinold, 205 South Menlo Avenue, resident in the neighborhood Pettigrew Heights, and just wanted to thank the petitioner for responding to some of the concerns the neighborhood had about the buffers between on 12th and Menlo Avenue there. Just had one quick question along the curve on 11th Street, and this is directed more towards the applicant, on how many trees and in detail maybe what kind of landscaping there would be provided as far as reducing the impact on traffic and the speed of what people are going in. So that's something, I don't know if you can address that or if that...
Please come up, Jeremy.
Would you like me to repeat name again?
No.
No? Okay. One of the challenges on this site is to make sure that we have enough landscaping along the north side along 11th Street. And as you can see, we've used some low shrubs in that northwestern corner. I don't think we have any overstory trees in that corner, do we? And as you move northeasterly, we do get into an area where we have some space for some smaller overstory trees. One of the other challenges on this site is there is a storm sewer running crisscross in that open area in the northwestern side, so that kind of limits our ability to put any of the bigger trees in that area. So in regards to some of the speed and traffic considerations, this is right around the curve of 11th, and I just drove it on my way in today, and I would say that that curve kind of keeps the speed relatively low going around the curve there. So I don't know if that answers his questions entirely, but yeah, I hope that helps.
Okay,
all right.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else from the audience like to address this item? Did they answer all your questions? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Seeing that, I need a motion and a second for item number 9.
Mr. Chair, move to approve item number 9.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion?
Like a good solution.
Should be a very attractive addition to the neighborhood, it looks like to me.
It does clean up that corner pretty good.
Clean it up.
So, all right, with that, I have a motion and a second. All in favor of item 9 signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All opposed, same sign. Item 9 passes.
Item 10 is 5811, 2016, alternative site plan for alternative landscape buffer yard located at 6225 South Pinnacle Place.
The applicant here is proposing to place 4 of their required 5 front yard trees outside of the required front yard setback along South Pinnacle Place. As you can see on their site plan, there is a 10-foot drainage easement that exists along South Pinnacle Place, which prohibits the placement of trees within the easements since that type of landscaping does prohibit stormwater runoff. We've seen several applications like this in the last couple of months, but they are required a total of 1 tree for every 50 foot of frontage for 5 trees total on the site. These trees are required to be placed in that first 10-foot front yard setback. The applicant is proposing to place 4 out of the 5 along the west portion of the lot outside of that front yard setback, and then they will be placing 1 tree that along the northeast corner that touches Pinnacle Place. That one will be located in the front yard setback. With the 4 out of the 5 trees outside of the front yard setback, they still will be located west of the building in the required front yard, just not in that setback. So the proposal should meet the intent of the front yard landscaping as indicated in the Shape Sioux Falls zoning ordinance. If this application is approved, the applicant can place the required trees outside of that front yard setback and in the location indicated on the site plan as shown above. If it is denied, the trees will then have to be clustered somewhere along the areas that touch the street. It'll be difficult for them to get it on the site. Because the subject application should meet the intent of those landscape requirements within the Shade Places zoning ordinance, staff does recommend approval of this application, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Commissioners, any questions of staff on this item? Thank you, Jason. Is the petitioner here?
Good evening. Mike Dale, Lloyd Companies, 101 South Reed Street. Thanks for presenting, Jason. I've got nothing else to add, but can answer any questions.
Commissioners, any questions of Mr. Dill? Thank you, Mike.
Thanks.
I need a, yep. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this item? All right. Seeing none, need a motion and a second on item number 10.
Motion for approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion?
Mr. Chair, it looks like the landscape requirements are being met, so I'm in favor of this.
Ditto.
Thank you.
This group get out of hand.
I know it. We can't let them get out of hand. With that, I have a motion and a second on item number 10. All in favor signify by saying yes.
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 All opposed, same sign. Item 10 passes.
Item 11 is an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending Chapter 157, subdivision ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls.
Staff is recommending deferral of item number 11. There's going to be some additional sections of 157 that they will be amending, so we want to do it all as one application. So we're looking to defer it to December 7th.
All right, thank you. Need a motion and a second?
To approve to defer item 11 to December meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Sure. No dittos? All right. All in favor signify by saying yes.
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 Opposed, same sign. Item 11 is deferred till the December meeting.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying yes.
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 Opposed, same sign. Meeting adjourned.